Hey guys, this week we're talking about all things tension. We've talked to you that most of the time in our clinic here, we find that it is not a strength issue that people have to tackle first, but a lack of mobility. And this really goes across the entire body for people, right? It's pretty common that we're tight or stiff or are lacking flexibility. And so our pelvic floors aren't immune to that. So you could be somebody who's dealing with symptoms. We talked about last email some of the symptoms or signs of pelvic floor tension that you may have. You could be somebody who it doesn't really manifest itself symptom-wise, but the muscle still needs a little bit of love. Either way, working on mobility of this part of your body can be a really, really good thing. So a quick and dirty little tool that we'll give people is actually lacrosse ball sitting. So just like you would use a foam roller to a part of your body to get it to mobilize better, we want to do the same thing for our pelvic floor. So I want you to get a lacrosse ball. You could also get a tennis ball that might be a little bit more forgiving. That's something that you're going to need for this drill. And what we're going to do is we're going to place it between our sit bones, that butt bone on one side, and then the opening of your vagina or your anus. You're going to put it right in between those two spots. So for me, I'm going to place it here and then I'm going to sit on it. So I want you to find a chair that it might have a little cushion to it. You could put a pillow down or maybe a yoga mat. That would help as well. And I'm going to use my hands first to kind of really allow myself to sink down on top of this. But I'm going to give myself a little bit of time to allow that ball to sink up into my pelvic floor. So first, I'm just going to have you sit on it. Are you able to let go and relax and sit down on it? Or is it so uncomfortable that there is no way that I can put my weight on it? That's okay. What I would encourage you to do is unweight yourself enough where you can relax into it. So once I'm here, really, I can just sit. This is something that I can do while I'm sitting at my desk working or watching TV. What we can do is we can actually go back to that first drill that we gave you last week, which is our connection breath. So here I could breathe and mobilize from the inside out that pelvic floor against that ball. So I can inhale and think about pushing down into the ball. I can exhale and pull away and see if that allows that pelvic floor to move and allow that ball to kind of get up there. Then lastly, if you feel like you kind of get to where it's comfortable, I'm going to have you see if you can kind of tilt that pelvic bowl back and forth a little bit. And so here I'm going to kind of lean backwards. I'm going to tuck my tail up underneath me. And then I'm going to tilt my pelvis forward. And here you can feel yourself tipping up over that bowl. So for me, I actually feel a little bit more crankiness, a little bit more tension as I roll backwards. So maybe I'm going to stop there and do a few breaths here and see if I can get that pelvic floor over time to let go. You're then going to repeat this on the other side. Find that area right in between your sit bone and then the opening of your vagina is going to be where it is. And so we're putting that ball right on the pelvic floor muscle itself. And then you're going to repeat it and see, is there a different side to side? Is there a difference in my breath, one side or the other? And here, this is not meant to be something that's miserable. Now, it's going to be potentially a little uncomfortable, just like foam rolling or any other mobility exercise would be. But this isn't something that we want you to feel like I have to clench and guard up against, which is the whole point we're doing this, right? Ideally, you find a ball, a chair, an amount of weight that allows you over the 2 or 3 minutes that you sit there to unwind, relax your jaw, relax your belly, and then sink down more on top of that. So generally, this is something that we arguably get you to do a couple of times a week, if not maybe at the beginning daily if you're super symptomatic. This is something that you might need to wean on. If you cannot at all tolerate sitting, what I would have you do is actually do this up against a wall. And maybe you start a little bit more on your glutes. Can I first get that ball just to kind of touch this part of my body before I then go and sit on it? That's a very logical place to start. So we want you to get you a ball, practice some lacrosse ball or tennis ball sitting, and let's see how that pelvic floor feels.